know Tupac?
Got to know is my daughter's fiance who was going to get married. In fact, he died in her arms, with his lungs stapled up. She almost got killed on that, too, because Suge and Tupac were in the car. She was supposed to be sitting next to Tupac.
This was in Las Vegas, right?
Las Vegas, yeah. And thank God Tupac called her up and said, I just hit a Crip, so I'll pick you up later. And a car came by, his car, a convertible, with girls in it to tempt him out of the car. And they pulled off, and a guy with a bow tie and a machine gun took him out. That would have been my daughter, Her car was behind him with the security, and he died in her arms. And she went through, within a year and a half's time, she lost Tupac. She produced an event for my record company, Quest Records and Vibe magazine. 4 minutes after that, Biggie Small got shot. He was at that thing. He got killed by the Crips. And Aaliyah was just to stay, live at our home. We took her to Fiji, stayed at Tony Robbins' house and everything. And later she got killed in that airplane accident. It was overloaded, And it was a rough time for her. But she's recovered. She's working with her sister now, Rashida Jones. You know Rashida Jones? That's my baby. And she is on fire. And they wrote a TV show together. They don't stop, and they keep selling 22 episodes every week. She's got a production deal with Pixar and Warner's, I think, yeah. Great.
When Tupac started dating your daughter, there was a sit-down you had with him.
He wrote something in Source magazines or stuff about just very racist and very nasty. And my daughter from Harvard, Rashida, took him out. And she was speaking Harvard East at the end, but all my kids, I put the street in them. I made sure they had the street. But you have to have the street, man. I don't care where you go, Yale, Harvard, Georgetown, whatever. The street is important. And I was born in the streets in Chicago in the 30s, and in Chicago with mafia every day, dead bodies every day, Tommy guns, stogies, piles of money in back rooms, like amazing. I wanted to be a gangster until I was 11. I did. Because, you want to be what you see. And all I ever saw were these guys, And the Jones Brothers, the gang, was the black gangsters, most notorious gangsters. We're going to do a film on that, too, in the history of America, And in 1941, they had a policy racket and 5 and dime stores, and they made $110 million that year. That's like $1 billion back then. And Capone ran them out of Chicago. And my father was Jones, too, but he was a carpenter building their homes. And he came and got my brother and I out of the barbershop and put us on a trailway bus and took us to the Northwest. Thank God, because out there is when I changed my dreams of being a gangster to being a musician.
I'm glad. Now, at some point in all of this on the south, when you were living on the south side of Chicago, when you were living on the south side of Chicago as a kid,
Depression.
Did a gangster put a switchblade through your hand?
7 years old. I went on the wrong street. They had the Vagabonds, the Giles AC, and the Scorpions. Wrong. I was in the wrong gang, and they nailed my hand to the fence with a switchblade knife, and they put an ice pick in my temple, man. But Chicago is a breeding ground for gangsters. I don't know what it is, man. It's the name in Chicago is an Indian name that means onions and garlic, with garlic and mosquitoes there, but something about that place that just breeds gangsters. I don't know what it is. It's amazing.
So what did your pop do?
All the way to Rahm Emanuel.
Tell me what your dad did when he found out about the
Well, my dad was a master carpenter, and he hit the kids in the head with a hammer about that, But it's a rough place, man. And we used to they didn't have guns back then. They didn't need them, because we'd take a clothespin and an inner tube rubber, try it with a string on a clothespin, and then take strings and put the tongue of in your shoe and put that in the string, and take a steel Aggie, and you could kill somebody with that, And they did. I mean, they were the roughest, and still are. I called Jennifer Hudson. You heard what happened to her with her mother and her brother and her nephew. Whatever. It's something about it. I don't know.
Let's, if you're up for this, I want to talk a little bit about Michael Jackson. And can you tell the Socrates story? What? The Socrates story when you were doing the Wiz.
Right. I met Michael at first at 12 years old. I met Stevie at 12, Aretha at 12, Devin at 12. It's amazing. We were doing the Wiz. I've done 5. Sidney Poitier